Hello, everybody. It's Mark Edwards again. I am in a bit of a rush, but I did want to get this content out in this virtual environment I've created with vyOS. And as we see here, the first thing I have up on the screen is our virtual environment. Now we are going to look at these devices, add OSPF routing, also do it through automation using Ansible. This is that Ansible box, free of charge, the three routers. We'll just do a show IP route. As we see, there's only connected routes and there's a static default on router 1. If we were trying to ping over to 2.2.2.2, we do not have connectivity anymore. The same holds true if we try to ping over to 3.3.3.3. So now we are going to move to Ansible. If you go to Etsy, Ansible, there's a directory that will install a host file. The host file is where we build out the groupings of the devices we want to automate or orchestrate and use playbooks to configure.
Here is our playbook. Everything will be in area 0. We will log any adjacency changes. We will redistribute our connected routes, which will get us our loopbacks to advertise to each other. And that's pretty much a basic playbook. We got about 5 or 6 configurations that we're going to send out to our 3 devices. We could send this out to 300 or 3,000. Looking back at our routers, we have our static default that is installed with vyOS by default, and then all we have are connected routes. All the static routes have been removed. One change, if you look in the upper left on router 1, is that I have changed the loopback. It turns out that 1.1.1.1, due to the static default, is reachable, and it's reachable out in the internet. So to see that, I can ping 1.1.1.1 and I get a response, even from router 1, even though it's not on router 1. I get that same response if we look at the upper right on router 2. But I've now changed it to 11.11.11.11, and that is not reachable, as we see here on the upper right on router 2. Moving back to Ansible, going to go ahead and get out of the playbook. And what I'm going to do is run that playbook. Password is the same as the username. So again, just highlighting the play that comes from the playbook itself. And the task also coming from the playbook. As we see here, we made some changes to these 3 devices. These were devices that were defined in the host file. And in the recap, the changes that happened and everything looks okay. We can get more verbose if we use the -v or -vvv switches. Now that we've run our playbook, let's go back to the routers and take a look. First thing we do is on the upper left on router 1, I'll get into configure mode. I'll run show protocols, OSPF. As we see, that configuration is now set down. I'm going to exit out of configuration mode and do a show IP route in the upper left on router 1. So now we see we also have some OSPF routes. We have 2.2.2.2 and 3.3.3.3. Let's go ahead and go over to router 2, take a look at that. Configure mode, show protocols OSPF. Looks good. Do show IP route. We see that we have our 3.3.3.3 and our 11.11.11.11. We can check for reach now. Before we didn't have reach to 11.11.11.11. Now we do. So summing it up, we've used OSPF to dynamically share the new networks. We've used Ansible to lay down 5 lines of configuration to get the dynamic routing working, and we've had success.